Hello lovelies, Holly Hope here, and I wanted to share with you just a little bit about how to take care of your rawhide drum. Because it is rawhide, it's actually made of animal skin, and it has to be conditioned and taken care of just like you would your own body. And it's especially important to remember, if your drum stays stagnant and unplayed for a long time, the height of the drum will start to shrink and contract and become harder and less elastic, and it won't make as much sound. So if you stick it in a closet for months or even years, you're gonna pull it out, it's gonna sound completely different, and it's gonna take some time for it to reincorporate its normal sound, if ever. And so it's important to take care of your drum on a regular basis and treat it like you would a live, living creature, because essentially it is. The spirit of the animal goes with the drum hide, and so you have this beautiful steward over this sacred gift, and it deserves to be treated as such. And if you feel like you don't get to drum it enough, or you're not connected with your drum, I recommend giving it away to somebody who's going to use it and honor that animal, because we don't want them to just rip and tear in a dark closet and break our hearts. A good time to rehydrate your drum is going to be anytime you travel, or anytime the season changes. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna just get your hand wet, just run it under the faucet, and you're gonna rub it on the top. Give your drum a nice drink of water. That's usually what I'll do if it happens to have gotten too warm without me realizing it, or even too cold, so that the rawhide can have a chance to absorb that moisture and reset. Now, you do wanna make sure that you're conditioning it at least every time the season changes. So when it goes from winter to spring, or from spring to summer, or summer to fall, or fall to winter, each of those is your cue that it's time to hydrate your drum and give it some conditioning. You can use several different things. I have a drum salve here that my cute friend Cami made. It's amazing, and it has herbs and oils with it. It also is mostly coconut oil, which is why it's all slooshy right now. You can use regular coconut oil, you can use olive oil. You also don't want anything that's gonna clot when you rub it a lot. So that's why my go-to is always coconut oil or olive oil. But you can use whatever you feel called to. Something is better than nothing. So if you're like, I don't have anything, please, please, please don't let your drum crack. So for me, I live in the desert, and so I have to hydrate my drums and condition them at least once a month. When I travel a lot with them, or they've been played a lot at drum circles or drum ceremonies, they need to be conditioned again. Anytime you take your drum into a sweat lodge, you're going to want to condition it, as well as if you do hot yoga. I'll drum for hot yoga classes, and sure enough, they get nice and soaked from the steamy humidity, but they're gonna need some type of sealant to hold in that moisture, so I have to rehydrate them then. So this drum, you can see it's kind of dry. This is a very dry drum. And it's funny because she hasn't gone that long without being rehydrated. So if you look right here, you can kind of see how it's beginning to fleck and peel, okay? So that's just like if you were to have dead, peely skin, that's what your drum's telling you is, I need moisture, see? And if you look right here, you can see that corner edge right in here. See how that's turning white? That's where it's going to tear if it tears. So your drum head will always turn white before it rips. So if you see white spots, you need to massage extra there. Also, a little trick that I love to do is, you see all this lacing in the back? There's lots of lacing. See, it has the moon and the sun, and it's kind of webby. So you can take and run oil on each of these little pieces, or you can do a spray. So I'm using extra virgin olive oil, and I'll spray all of that lacing. If you have one of those really cool pumps that you put your olive oil in and pump it, I would recommend that, just because I don't really like aerosol. I just happen to have it. And then making sure you're rubbing it with your hand to make sure there's no spots that got missed. So if your drum starts to buzz or rattle, it's probably needing moisture on the lacing part. So now that I've got my lacing done, I'll show you how to do the front of the drum. So you're gonna take a little bit of coconut oil or olive oil. If it's a solid, you just rub it until it becomes smooth, and you're gonna give it extra working and focus. So I like to talk to my drum, say hello. See right there's like a little rough spot, so I'm gonna focus extra on there. And you're just gonna rub it in. Thank you for playing. And if it's really dry, I would coat on extra and just let it soak in. If you get too much, you can use a paper towel and wipe off the excess, but your drum will absorb all of it. It just may take more time. This has beautiful lavender in it. You can apply essential oils as well to your drum. That's pretty powerful. If you're drumming and all of a sudden you smell some essential oils that your body's calling to. Absolutely. This would be the time to do it because it's not going to create like a grease spot because you're greasing up the whole drum. And you can kind of tip it in the light to see if you missed any spots. Now, if you have an ocean drum, you're going to do this to both sides. And then the lacing, if it's rawhide lacing, you want to rub all that rawhide lacing or use the spray all the way around for the ocean drum. That ocean drum, if it gets dry, the hide's not going to break, the lacing will break. So make sure you're hydrating your lacing. Loving our drum babies. And sometimes what I will do is I'll just plan every new moon is the time that I hydrate my drums, or you can do the full moon. She's so happy. Now, if your drum has dried out excessively, I would give her a drink of water first, rub some water on, and then apply the oil on top of the water. You can let it dry for just a couple minutes in between if it's too moist, but a lot of times it will sound really great really soon and just soak it in. Making sure you're getting all that outer edge of the ring. And again, this is what's gonna make your drum last. It's gonna make it keep the sound. It's gonna make it handle when you travel to different climates and different humidities. It's also what is going to condition so it's not gonna tear. So I love it, love it, love it. Please take care of your drum babies. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. So happy drumming. No more ashy drums. I'd say she's pretty happy.